Welcome, gentle traveler, to a journey across time and sand. Tonight, we will step softly into a world that is vast, silent, and ancient, a place where the wind whispers through endless dunes and the horizon stretches farther than the eye can see. Imagine yourself leaning back, perhaps with a warm cup at hand, as your mind drifts slowly across the desolate yet strangely beautiful landscapes of the Gobi Desert. In this story, we will explore lives that were shaped by solitude, endurance, and the delicate rhythm of survival. The people we will meet were the custodians of fragile trade networks, moving silently across sand seas under a sun that could scorch and a night sky that could freeze. Their existence was both lonely and vital, a quiet backbone supporting the flow of goods, ideas, and culture across deserts that seem endless to us now. Allow your breathing to ease, steady and slow as we begin. Picture the soft hiss of wind over sand, the occasional distant cry of a bird, and the slow, measured footsteps of camels trudging through dunes. This is a world both distant and intimate. It will unfold gently before your mind's eye. Imagine yourself waking before dawn. The sky is still a pale indigo, and the air clings to your skin with a chill that bites gently at exposed hands. You rise beside the low, coarse tent where you've slept on thin mats, bundled in layers that offer little comfort against the cold. Around you, the Gobi Desert stretches infinitely, a landscape of shifting sands and jagged stones, alive only with the soft whisper of wind. Your companions are not many. A camel, tall and patient, lifts its long legs carefully over small dunes. Another tends to snuffling, nibbling at the sparse tufts of desert vegetation. Each step they take is deliberate, measured, as if the animals themselves know the fragility of life in these lands. You check the ropes and packs, the precious cargo that might contain silk, spices, or grains, goods that will eventually reach distant cities. Any mistake here, any misstep, can mean loss, and loss in this place is a silent, relentless threat. The days stretch long and quiet. The sun climbs, hot and unyielding, and you feel its warmth settle heavily over your shoulders. There is no shade, no gentle river to soothe your parched throat. Your hands are roughened by ropes, your feet hardened by sand that scours endlessly against worn leather boots. At night, the temperatures plummet, and the desert exhales a bitter cold that seeps through every layer. You huddle near a fire that barely wards off the chill, listening to the camels breathe, the sand shift, the endless, lonely wind. The risks are constant. A single misstep might send a camel into panic, scattering the caravan across miles of dunes. Dust storms rise without warning, blotting the horizon and leaving you blind, disoriented, small against the vastness of the desert. Illness is never far, and there are no healers on the sand. Food and water are scarce, measured, rationed, a constant negotiation with survival itself. Yet, in these hardships, there is a rhythm. The march of the caravan, the slow rise and fall of camelbacks, the whisper of wind over sand. These form a cadence, a pulse that the desert demands you follow. You learn to anticipate storms, to track the subtle shifts of terrain, to read the quiet signs of fatigue or distress in the animals you guide. Life here is brutal, yes, but it is also precise, ordered, and oddly, almost meditative. Imagine, as you settle with this thought, the long stretches of golden sand stretching ahead. The horizon seems infinite. You feel the weight of history pressing softly upon your shoulders. Those who came before, those who moved silently through the same dunes, bearing the goods, the stories, the lifeblood of far-off lands. To be a camel tender in the Gobi was lonely, demanding, harsh. Yet, in that endless solitude, there is a strange endurance, a quiet nobility, and the soft, rhythmic companionship of creatures who move with you through time itself. As your mind lingers on the quiet rhythm of the desert, allow yourself to drift toward a distant oasis, a place that emerges like a mirage from the sand, yet is very real. Dunhuang. Imagine the first sight of the oasis, its water glinting softly in the sunlight. The palms swaying gently in a breeze that carries a faint, comforting scent of moisture and earth. Here, the Gobi's harsh expanse softens into life, and the city begins to take shape amidst the dunes. Dunhuang became a resting point, a convergence, a hub for travelers who had endured miles of sand, heat, and cold. It was a place where weary merchants might finally set down their burdens and allow the quiet pleasures of civilization to soothe them. Imagine the markets, low tents and stalls clustered along narrow streets, their colors muted under the constant sun. Silk ribbons flutter softly in the warm wind. Pottery glimmers in the sunlight, and the distant clatter of carts over cobbled paths creates a gentle rhythm. The scent of cooked grains, dried fruits, and fragrant teas drifts through the streets, mingling with the earthy aroma of the desert beyond. The city was more than a simple oasis. It was a meeting point of culture, religion, and commerce, a crossroads where ideas traveled as surely as silk and spices. Buddhist monks, scholars, and traders mingled quietly, each carrying knowledge and belief from distant lands. Imagine small groups walking along shaded courtyards, their soft conversations punctuated by the tinkling of wind chimes and the rustle of robes. Temples rose serenely above the streets, their walls reflecting the pale golden light of early evening, offering refuge for reflection and meditation. Yet, even as the city flourished, its survival remained delicate. Water was precious, the desert's harsh demands never fully absent. Sand encroached gradually, the winds reshaping dunes, threatening to swallow pathways, walls, and buildings alike. Imagine the watchful eyes of those tending irrigation channels, their careful hands coaxing life from the soil, maintaining a fragile balance between abundance and scarcity. Daily life in Dunhuang required attentiveness, patience, and quiet diligence. A dance with the desert itself. Over the centuries, Dunhuang became famous for its strategic location along the Silk Road. Caravans from far-off lands converged here, and with them came languages, ideas, stories, and customs. A merchant from the west might share tales of distant empires, while a monk from the east brought scriptures and teachings. And the city absorbed it all with measured grace. Imagine the soft hum of activity, never frantic, always steady, a rhythm of trade and knowledge weaving through the quiet streets. And yet, for all its vitality, the city faced mysteries and a slow fading. Trade routes shifted, politics changed, and the winds of time swept silently across the desert. What was once bustling eventually softened into echoes, leaving traces in mud brick walls, faded frescoes, and scattered artifacts. Dunhuang's decline was gradual, almost imperceptible, like the desert reclaiming its space, quietly, without haste. Imagine yourself walking these silent streets, tracing paths once filled with life. The stillness is gentle, comforting, and reflective. You feel the connection between the endless desert and this fleeting oasis, the endurance of travelers, the care of city dwellers, the quiet persistence of culture amidst adversity. And in this reflection, you sense that the desert, in its harshness, allowed beauty and civilization to emerge, however briefly, like a whispered secret among the dunes. From the quiet streets of Dunhuang, imagine yourself moving toward the cliffs that rise gently on the outskirts of the city. These cliffs, carved by wind and time, conceal a treasure hidden from most eyes. Cave temples that have stood for centuries, holding art, texts, and rituals from ages past. Picture the soft, golden glow of sunlight on the rocks, the faint warmth of stone beneath your fingertips, and the hushed silence that seems to permeate even the air within these sacred spaces. The caves are entrances into another world, where walls are alive with color and meaning. Murals stretch across ceilings and columns, soft pigments depicting serene Buddhas, flowing rivers, and quiet landscapes. The figures gaze gently, their eyes half closed, as if in perpetual meditation. Imagine tracing the painted robes with your mind's eye. Delicate folds, gentle curves, muted reds and ochres blending seamlessly with the sandy tones of the cliffs. Each image tells a story, not through dramatic action, but through stillness and presence. Beyond the murals, texts are carefully preserved on thin sheets of paper, rolled scrolls, and delicate manuscripts. Some are prayers, others philosophical teachings, and still more are practical guides for travelers and pilgrims who sought guidance in both body and spirit. Imagine slowly unrolling one of these scrolls, feeling the brittle texture beneath your fingers, noticing the careful strokes of ink-forming characters that have endured centuries. Each word is a whisper from the past, a quiet voice speaking across time. The caves themselves require endurance to reach. Narrow passages wind upward, sometimes descending into shadowed chambers where the air is cool and carries the faint scent of earth and ink. Imagine walking slowly, deliberately, each step measured against the rhythm of your breathing, as if in step with the monks who once moved through these spaces in meditation and ritual. Here, the desert's harshness feels distant. It has been replaced by the soft echo of devotion, the gentle hum of contemplation. Many secrets remain hidden, even to modern scholars. Rituals performed behind closed doors, symbolism embedded in murals, fragments of stories only partially preserved. All these hint at a rich, layered, spiritual life. Imagine yourself pausing before a particularly intricate mural, tiny figures kneeling, trees bending, patterns curling, each detail a careful expression of belief, patience, and reverence. The quiet repetition of these images over decades and centuries speaks not of spectacle, but of persistence, discipline, and a gentle devotion to something beyond the immediate world. Even the physical act of creating these murals and texts must have been demanding. Artists, scribes, and monks worked in isolation, in dim light, with careful hands, enduring heat, cold, and the ever-present dust of the desert. Yet their work endures, soft and silent, a gentle testament to human patience and the pursuit of knowledge and spiritual insight. Imagine the calm focus required, the meditative repetition of brushstrokes, the careful placement of every line and figure. And as you step back, gazing at these caves bathed in muted sunlight, you sense the connection between human effort and the quiet grandeur of the desert, the solitude of the Gobi, the bustling oasis of Dunhuang. And these hidden sanctuaries are threads of the same tapestry. Lives intertwined with landscape, with belief, with endurance. The desert, in its vastness, holds both hardship and wisdom, both silence and expression. And as you breathe in this quiet reflection, you may feel a gentle calm, a sense of timeless continuity, and a soft easing of the mind toward rest. As we leave the quiet murals and shadowed caves behind, imagine turning your gaze toward the more privileged corners of life along the Silk Road. Here, comfort exists in contrast to the hardships of desert tenders, and the rhythm of daily life flows with a different, softer cadence. Picture sunlit courtyards, pale stone walls, and finely carved wooden beams casting gentle shadows over quiet gardens, where the scent of flowering plants drifts lazily in the warm air. The elite of the Silk Road merchants, officials, and desert nobles moved in relative ease compared to the travelers who bore the weight of endless sand. Imagine richly adorned robes of soft silks, subtly colored with natural dyes, brushing against polished floors. The air carries the faint, warm aroma of incense and pressed oils, mingling with the scent of tea poured from delicate vessels. Life here is structured, precise, and measured, yet still touched by the constant presence of trade, politics, and the careful balancing of influence. Merchants oversaw caravans from shaded verandas, tallying accounts and tracking shipments with calm diligence. Their minds were occupied with calculations, correspondence, and negotiation, all conducted with subtlety and a quiet attention to detail. Imagine the soft scratch of a reed pen against parchment, the muted rustle of scrolls, and the occasional murmur of an assistant delivering updates from afar. Here, there is no rush through sand dunes, no bitter cold or blistering sun. Instead, a steady pulse of commerce and planning that requires patience, awareness, and foresight. Desert nobles moved through the streets with gentle authority, their steps measured, their presence commanding yet unobtrusive. They convened in shaded pavilions, discussing governance, taxation, and diplomacy. Imagine the soft clink of teacups on lacquered trays, the quiet murmur of conversation punctuated by the occasional distant call of a messenger arriving on horseback. Life for the elite demanded attention, but it was a softer, more cushioned attention, one far removed from the immediate dangers of wind, sand, and isolation. Yet even here, the desert's influence persists. Every decision, every trade route, every alliance was shaped by the landscape, the vast emptiness beyond the city walls, the unpredictability of the dunes, and the knowledge that survival was never guaranteed. Imagine an elite caravan preparing to travel, camels carefully loaded and rested, guides chosen for their intimate knowledge of the terrain. The comfort of status did not remove the necessity of respect for the desert. It only softened the exposure, providing a buffer between human endeavor and nature's extremes. Contrast these lives with the lonely camel tenders, the weary travelers, and the meditative monks of the caves. The elite's existence is quieter in danger, richer in resources, and buffered by comfort, yet still connected silently to the endurance, knowledge, and perseverance of those who move across the desert below. Their wealth and status were built upon the silent, tireless labor of others, the careful management of resources, and the subtle navigation of both natural and human forces. As the day ends, imagine the sun setting over Dunhuang, its light softening the edges of stone, sand, and structure. Courtyards are quiet, markets emptied, and the wind begins its nightly journey across the dunes, brushing softly against walls, tents, and camels alike. The elite retire, the merchants rest, and all along the Silk Road, the desert exhales in a steady, comforting rhythm. The human presence recedes into calm, leaving behind traces of endurance, culture, and connection that stretch across time, echoing softly into the night. Here, in this contrast between hardship and comfort, solitude and civilization, you may feel the gentle, persistent heartbeat of history, the quiet knowledge that every life, however challenging or cushioned, contributes to a larger, enduring story. And as the desert settles, so too may your mind, softly, gently, toward rest. As the desert night deepens, imagine yourself once more standing on a gentle dune, the cool sand beneath your feet and the soft wind brushing across your skin. The Gobi stretches endlessly before you. Darkened now, the horizon softened into muted shades of blue and gray. You may hear, faintly, the distant movement of camels, the whisper of wind across cliffs, or the soft sigh of water in Dunhuang's oasis. Small, calming sounds that mark the quiet rhythm of this ancient land. Tonight, you have walked with camel tenders across miles of sand, felt the loneliness and endurance of their lives, and glimpsed the delicate persistence of human endeavor against nature's vastness. You have wandered the oasis of Dunhuang, imagining the steady life of its citizens, and the gentle flow of culture along the Silk Road. You have entered hidden caves, marveling at murals and texts that have survived centuries, each a soft echo of devotion, patience, and wisdom. And you have observed the lives of the elite, measured, comfortable, yet still bound to the desert's subtle influence. As you reflect on these lives, notice the contrasts: solitude and community, hardship and comfort, endurance and reflection, all intertwined across time. The Gobi Desert, harsh and vast, has shaped these people and places with a steady, unhurried hand. Life in this desert was never loud, never hurried. It was a quiet persistence, a rhythm measured by the sun, the wind, and the slow, deliberate movement of human and animal alike. Allow your own breath to match this rhythm. Inhale slowly, filling your lungs with calm. Exhale gently, letting tension dissolve. Imagine the warmth of a small fire, the softness of sand or stone underfoot, the quiet companionship of creatures who move with patience and care. The stories you have heard tonight are not just tales of survival, but gentle reminders of human resilience, adaptation, and the enduring beauty found even in the most demanding landscapes. And now, as the night deepens and your mind drifts naturally, allow the past to settle softly around you. Let the winds of the Gobi carry away the last remnants of wakefulness. Picture yourself resting among dunes under the infinite night sky, surrounded by the echoes of footsteps, brushstrokes, and whispers that have traveled across centuries. There is comfort here in the endurance of humans, in the persistence of culture, in the soft, unbroken rhythm of the desert. Sleep may come easily now, gentle and unhurried as the stories of camel tenders, merchants, monks, and nobles fade into the quiet night. The desert holds them as it now holds you in a steady embrace. And as you drift, know that you carry with you a small fragment of this ancient world. Its calm, its rhythm, its quiet, enduring beauty into your own dreams. Good night.